because it has so many because it has so many moving parts, it makes it a more complex issue. Because one size doesn't fit all, because affordable house in Kabul is different from affordable house in Dubai or in China or in India because of these other contextual issues, like the economy and government and available material or lack of material. So I'm not sure um, what would be an ideal. First of all, let me go back because I keep hearing a small house. I think a small house means to different people from different countries. A small house, for instance, been in Japan and China. Small house means in a practical and comfortable environment because every space is well thought out, traditionally, even in modern day. So I am uh, I am for affordable house, but this affordable house has to be designed with a proper design thinking behind it. I know there are restrictions, government restrictions, and all that should be followed. And I think you say that better than I can say, that every country has rules and regulations because after all, we live in a community. And once we're part of the community, we have to adhere to the rules and regulations for the betterment of the community, not just one house or one person, but for a whole community. Which brings me down to an issue of affordable housing in Afghanistan should be, I personally feel it should be more of a community product rather than individual person product. Because if you have the strength of the community, within the community, you have the artisans, you have the carpenter, you have the gilkar, and you have the mason, and the list goes on and on. The possibility is, as you mentioned, even in the West, in America, uh, people go on the weekends or holidays to someone else's place to build the house or to help each other. And I think that is what's needed in Afghanistan. But above all, I would say in every community, before they start these affordable houses, they should have a an architect or an engineer and architect to sort of supervise the do's and don'ts within building or designing these affordable houses. I'm quite fascinated because I lived in Dubai to see how the whole idea of traditional architecture or traditional houses with courtyard houses completely flipped over 180 degrees, and now no longer they build these old traditional beautiful private court houses, and instead they build a huge mansion in the middle of this small lot, which is really bizarre. It's totally the opposite of what it used to be. But regardless, I would suggest that students should think very carefully, not just to adhere completely to so-called traditional mud brick houses, because the mud brick houses are not really sustainable. I mean, whether we like it or not, whether we are emotional about it or not, I think we have to make sure to encourage students to look at the material itself. And as you said, Reinhardt, what are the other alternatives? Are there modern ways of injecting science in new material? For instance, nowadays, I read somewhere that in China they do build these houses, the so-called the mud houses, but they inject fiberglass, which fiberglass brings the strength of material to adhere with each other. So these are the nuances of the modern way of thinking that the students should really go into, rather than being too emotional about the so-called the traditional houses, which is fine. As long as they look into the practicality, the privacy, the respect of community with each other, or the individual within the community, And also above all, and I think in Afghanistan we need to encourage self-sufficiency, self-sufficiency, and make people more able to become able to build their own houses within the community. And I think the issue of community becomes a strong a point here that should students really pursue that. Those are my little comments. Thanks.
Excellent, excellent, Ustad Miti.
That's very interesting. The issue of community, I think, goes back to Bashir's thing. We've been advocating these clusters, these groups of 10, 15 families together, and they live around a courtyard, and they jointly share and jointly decide and jointly select the standards and what they do and how they use it in their houses. And this seems to follow the idea is that they can follow tradition, they cannot follow tradition, it's up to them, but they can do it. But I didn't think I know, you noticed that you said these projects should have an architect to supervise it, to help out. We had an interesting problem in Sri Lanka. We did a project there of, I don't know, a couple of hundred houses. It was essentially a combination of shell houses and variations on shell houses that people finished. And in it, they hired the housing authority, they hired an architect, a young architect, to open up a on-site office to provide support. He was a young architect, very nice, but um, he came from the architecture school. And it turned out that it didn't work. And so then they hired a retired contractor, and he was a guy who the families could go to and say, "Listen, is this door better than that door?" And all these little details, which the unfortunately the young architect couldn't respond to. So it was a different kind of support that the families were looking for at that stage. I agree that some sort of a professional intervention, an architect at the stage where they figure out what to do on the overall planning, it would be very helpful. And the more people, the more professional input that you would need. But once it gets on site and people start building, I think it needs very, uh, I don't know what you would call them, practitioners of some kind. In the project in Sri Lanka also, Sri Lanka is known as an island paradise. When you it's a beautiful place. Climate's fantastic and so on. They the design had a series of big trees planted along a main entranceway, and these were trees to be planted from Sri Lanka local trees. All the trees died, and we couldn't believe it. And it was the problem also was in the learning, the professional didn't have the practical experience. And again, somehow, one we need to put in a profession this practical experience needs to get incorporated somehow. Um, I think that's very important. Somehow more field work, more summer work, something like that should be an important element. Um, if you notice, I never mentioned the word, I don't think I mentioned the word traditional construction. I was trying to avoid that because it's essentially what people customarily do, and one can build on that, and one can improve it, like you suggested, putting in the fibers inside the mud cement. Good idea,
Mhm,
uh, and things like that. I think that's perfect. But I think the basis, what do people do, and to learn from that, what do these informal people do? They're living
mhm,
somewhere. They're doing something. Okay,
mhm.
one can improve it.